I think I heard you saying on another podcast episode that you want to get a little bit more autobiographical on the next batch of songs, or get a little bit more personal. Maybe saying that
Yeah.
wrong.
No, you're right. I don't remember where I said that recently, but that's true. I definitely
Oh,
did say that.
this may be a little older. Backstage Pass with
Okay,
Gordy
yeah.
Tamayo.
Yeah. No, that's not that's I think that might have been from last year, but that's true. I mean, in some of the songs that like I said, that I've been working on slowly for my project that I have coming up are a little bit more personal, autobiographical, and I just think now that I'm a bit more comfortable with myself as a writer, and having a sense of who I am as a writer and an artist, and what I wouldn't say just as much as what I would say, I just have to think about, well, like, what makes me different, what makes me unique, what's going to make me stand out, and I think that's my story, because everyone's story is unique and different. So I just finding the ways to honor and tell my story and my life and my perspective up until this point in a way that I think will connect with people, and people will connect to their own lives. But of course, I want to be able to just find my lane and find my own way of saying it, and the experiences that and background that shaped me and made me who I am. So yeah, I definitely want to be more personal. It's not that I ever wasn't personal or didn't relate to stuff before. But again, different songs exist for different reasons,
Or some of the ones like whether it's Traded for a Truck, or certainly like Hangover Here,
Yeah. I mean,
Talking Dirty. Even if somebody like me, if I didn't maybe have that direct experience, you
right.
can the way the lyrics are written, the way the song moves you and carries you, the melody and hooks, you get it, and you could see it. You can take pieces
Yes.
from it and maybe make it fit for your life, what you're doing.
But the emotion is we're communicating emotion. The songs are a vessel for connecting this emotion from you to me. And those songs are a perfect example, because like I said about Talking Dirty, that wasn't necessarily one of my experiences either. I mean, I'd had similar-ish experiences of, like, being out somewhere a little bit more remote with a girl, and kind of thing, but it was about capturing that emotion, that story. The way we wrote that song, the way we told it, is to get at that emotion and that feeling. Now, it's funny that you mentioned other songs, Hangover Here, and what's the other one you mentioned? Traded for a Truck, and even We Went South. Those actually are those are more probably some of the more autobiographical songs on on that last record, in the sense of, like, Hangover Here was based on my college experiences, like a pastiche of college experiences. And
Oh yeah, and We Went South. I should have.
We Went South is kind of about my journey to here, and Traded for a Truck, not based on, like, a specific direct experiences, but it was me thinking of myself as, like, I've never owned a truck in my life. Like, it was trying to take that trope and that metaphor of trucks in country music, and how could I, as a kid from suburban Philadelphia, like, play with the idea of a truck song. What kind of truck song would work for me? Well, it would have to be about the idea that I've never had one, and so I wonder, what it'd be like. So I always try, and to your point about trying to make it more autobiographical, even if it's something like that, I certainly try and make it fit me. If we're talking about my artist stuff, it's different if I'm writing for another artist with another artist and they grew up with trucks. Like, I'll write those truck songs all day. I have a lot of those kind of truck songs, and they're fun. But the standard is different when you're talking about, like, going back to Trevor with, why he wouldn't sing some Jolene. It just wasn't relevant to him as an artist with what he's trying to do. If he was approaching it from the songwriter perspective, that's different. But my level of, like, how I look at things for my artist project has to be different from me as a songwriter. They're not diametrically opposed, but they are complementary, I'd say, in the sense that I'm not just trying to find a great song. I'm trying to find a great song that reflects me and fits me and feels authentic, and is how I want to present myself to the world, versus it's those same considerations for the other artists I may be writing with. But in my head, I'm just like, well, this is a great title, this is a great melody, great hook. Like, I think it'll fit what they do and they'll dig it. And I'm excited to write this song and idea, because I know I couldn't be the one to put it out, but this is super. To have this song have a home and create it and give it a life that I know it otherwise wouldn't have, is why I love songwriting. Period. And, because you can't. Garth Brooks said this. I read him in an article, interview, or something at some point. You can't outwrite this town, and you can't write every song you cut, and you can't cut every song you write. It's just the nature of time. You could have all the money in the world too. Mm-hmm. So to point on the time thing, as we talked about.
And yeah, speaking of time or time management, is it hard for you to have those days where you get out in the community there locally and you're not doing anything business related, artist related? And I know there's like here I could maybe mention going to the beach or something, but like there's some places recreationally that you might go and hang with somebody or just go by yourself and you're like, all right, I'm not going to look at the phone. I'm not going to take any calls right now. If it starts buzzing, I'm not paying attention to it. Can you do that?
It's hard.
I bet.
And you ask any family or friends that know me, they might say it not as nicely as I said that, but it is hard for me to disconnect, and it's something I'm working on. Just because, again, I got so many different irons in the fire, for better or worse, and trying to keep track of work that I'm doing for other people that pays the bills, or gigs I got coming up. Like, it's always like booking new gigs, and like a lot of times when you get requests or people are reaching out, it's like it's kind of time sensitive, and I gotta make sure I'm on it or I miss it. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm trying to get to this point where, you know what? If I miss it, it's not for me. And you can't, because again, you can't be everywhere at once. You can't write every song, can't do all those things. So I've gotten better at it, and it's certainly easier when I'm with people, because then you kind of have a need and a reason to be, not to be present. But I mean, there's plenty of fun things to do in Nashville. There's a lot of great kind of like, I wouldn't just call them bars, but just like activity bar, like barcades or like mini golf stuff, places I guess that serve alcohol. But there's a lot of great things to do in town. I've started getting into golf back in with a heavy asterisk, because I golfed when I was a little kid, before I got really into running track, and music took all the time. But I love being on the course. I love just being outside, and it's fun hanging with friends, and I just love the atmosphere. And I want to get good enough that I can just like hang. I don't need to be Tiger Woods or Scotty Scheffler or anything like that. I just need to be able to not have to, pick up my ball at every freaking time. Just like play the game,
Yeah.
But I really love doing that, and it's I'm trying to make time for that, because that is obviously very much a thing where you have to make time for it. I mean, we don't have the beach here, unfortunately.
I was going to say, if I think I must have missed you a couple years ago at South Alabama. I think you played a gig there on campus.
Yeah, well, I've been down there a good bit. The University of South Alabama, is that the one you're talking about? Yeah. I did that. I think that was last March. It was on campus there at their student center. Yeah, I didn't realize you were.
I should have.
For some reason, I keep thinking, because you always wear the Cubs hat because you're from Chicago originally. So I just totally didn't even realize that. I was down there. When was I down? I was down there again-ish recently. I'm trying to remember.
We've got the 30A Songwriters Festival, Fort Walton, and then UWF, University in Pensacola.
Yeah, I know the ASCAP runs the 30A festival, so I've been trying to get on that festival at some point. I'm definitely going to talk to them, and obviously if that happens, I will let you know. Certainly if Son of Jolene becomes a big hit, like we know it can, I will be a lot easier for me to play that festival. So let's hope it happens. But next time I'm down in that area, there's a lot of, as you know, country art like stuff going down around there, shows, concerts, people coming in during tours. So I'm sure I will be back down in the South Alabama area at some point in the next little while. So I'll definitely let you know.
If you see me at one of the shows, you'll probably see a couple kids with me too, because I got little Dan Harrison fans.
Well, I love that, and as you know, my music is definitely, I don't know, it's not kids music, but it's family friendly. It's not me.
Well, I can hang over here. They don't. I mean, my 8-year-old knows what a beer is, but he doesn't know wake and bake or what that means. And I'm one of those parents that, if it goes over their head, I'm not going to screen everything and say, "Oh, you can't hear that, can't watch that."
Yeah, he'll learn it. He'll get it when he's older. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I feel like there's movies or songs that like my parents let me watch or listen to as a kid, and as an adult or later on, I'm like, wait a minute, I never even realized that thing was that until just now. Now that I'm an adult, so I don't think anytime as a parent, saying this as not a parent, but obviously as someone who has parents, I think the restrictive mindset just makes kids want to see what it's about more. If you don't make things scary or off limits. They'll just either get it or they won't. And
That's right.
so obviously within reason. I mean, I'm not saying show them like crazy R-rated stuff, but when it's appropriate. Yeah, no, I definitely will let you know, and hopefully it will be soon. There's also the Frank Brown festival, isn't that down there?
Frank Brown, yeah, the floor. It's different venues, but the Floribama is where it started, maybe
Right.
30 something years ago. But yeah, it's spread out across various venues in the area.
Yeah, yeah. And then Fort Walton, you said one of my good buddies is from Destin, from college, and one of my good college buddies, and he's actually a big part of who like got me into country music too. Apart from my college girlfriend at the time, but he really introduced me to a lot of the music that I now love. That's like was part of that time in my life. So I remember we went down to Destin during spring break, and that was super fun. Drove through Alabama in the night and saw Luke Bryan and Florida Georgia Line, and this was like 2013. So like that era, peak bro country on the beach at Spinnakers, and like you couldn't even see the sand. It was covered in Solo cups. Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, Dan, we're hitting up on the hour mark here. I don't want to keep you all night, but this has been terrific. And anything we haven't covered or promoted that you'd like to highlight here at the end?
Well, I don't have a ton for me right now, obviously, in terms of my own music. Like I put out Night in the Life towards the end of last year, so obviously people go check that out and any of my other music. We got some shows coming up in Nashville, like I said. Bells, we're playing Bluebird on July 28th. I think we're playing the Listening Room earlier in that month, but I'm still locking that in. And then there's also a show potentially at Eric Church's bar downtown, Chiefs. They have like an original music venue that I think we might be doing there. And then Bells is playing the Opry July 30th. So, that's a regular Opry show that anyone can get their tickets to. And that's going to be exciting. And obviously, yeah, if there's anything more I can think of, I'll make sure to let you know. But did we cover the time management thing enough, you think?
Oh, actually, this is a little anecdote, and it may be kind of unrelated, but I got to mention it because I only did this for a short time in my life, a true 9 to 5 where you're in an office or you're doing something, you're like, this cannot be it. But apparently a couple of years before you moved to Nashville, had somebody offered you a job or something that was somebody in the network, and you're like, all right, I guess I got to take this at this time.
Yeah, so before I moved to Nashville, I worked at a family friend's investment firm, and I'd interned there in college, and it was a great experience. It really was. I needed. It was just out of job. I was just out of college. It's like I needed a job, and I knew them, and I knew I wanted to do music, but I didn't have a plan. So I was like, well, I may as well make some money and figure it out. And I still, I learned a lot of valuable skills along the way. Like I was, financial analyst for a year and a half, 2 years, and I got some great skills, and some great people that are still I still know and am connected with, and are supportive and have seen the journey. And but and I'm glad that I did that too, because I sort of did the plan B first. Like I kind of I tell this to people all the time, because they're like, do you have a plan B? And I'm like, no, because I already did it and I saw that was not for me. Like, of course, that's not to say it wasn't a great experience. It's just you realize like, hey, I know what I'm supposed to do with my life. And I think when you have that mentality of like, it's tough because speaking more broadly about time, not just time management, you think like, okay, I've been here in Nashville for over 8 years at this point, and been a lot of great things, a lot of growth, momentum, build, everything, but I'm still very much trying to get to a certain level, and there's only so much that's in my control, and beyond that, it's kind of like I have to remind myself that I can't wait for my life to start, even if I'm waiting for my career to hit a certain level. So like going back to that balance thing of like making sure I'm taking care of myself, making sure I'm making time for friendships, maybe a relationship at some point. It's hard to do, but keeping that in mind in the bigger picture. But yeah, I have done the more traditional route thing too, and I got a lot of respect for it. And there's definitely some days where I'm like, hey, maybe having a steady paycheck would be cool. But I think this is what I do. This isn't like I'm going to try it out for 5 years, and if it doesn't work, it's like, no, this is this is what I do. And it's kind of like my my dad's dad was a freelance writer, mostly like film, TV, screenwriter. He actually was an ASCAP member himself. He wrote some jingles for some of his shows, and he was a freelance writer his entire career. And that's not quite what I am, but in the sense of like being a writer and trying to make your own way and make a mark that way, like that's who he was. Like he could have never done anything else, and that's me. That's going to be me, and that's going to be me. So I think it's kind of the work to live to work thing, but I don't want it to just be, like I said, live to work can also have its downsides. So, you love what you do, but still being able to set certain boundaries where needed, of like, at the end of the day, if I'm treating this like a job, even if you love it, you have to give boundaries to it like a job. Because I normally like try not to write and work on, I do paid work on weekends as I need to, like in my studio and whatever, but like I try to not do writing sessions on weekends, try not do like in-person recording, collaborating things on the weekends, unless it's like a really great opportunity that I can't turn down, or with like big artists, like of course, but you want to leave that time open. But I just mostly need the reset time and the relax and doing my laundry and getting, some, workouts in or sleep or whatever. Like, and this time of year is particularly challenging because, a lot of the weekends I'm gone, either on the road for shows or like, I was out of town, as I said before we started, for my brother's graduation this past weekend, and that was great. And then I'm going out of town for a private show this coming week, so it's like all great things, but trying to find time and all that, and then you have busy weeks. It's like you need to find time for yourself, and so I'm probably gonna go catch a movie later, just finish getting settled in back from being out of town, and just do something for me. It's Memorial Day weekend, try and enjoy that. You guys going to the beach or anything tomorrow, or doing anything fun?
We did a couple actually pool parties yesterday and earlier today. That's with like Little League related stuff. It's crazy. I was talking to another dad, and he was like, man, I don't really have hobbies anymore. My hobbies are whatever the kids are doing. And so if you do in another 5 or so years have start a family and have the kids, it does really crunch the time that you have to do what you really want to do. And that's kind of what I was saying with the podcast. I don't disappear for 2 months, but it's mostly about a month, and sometimes I'll plug in a bonus episode in the middle. But yeah, usually about once a month. Because
I hear you, man. And that was why, especially, I kind of had a thought when I was a little bit younger, just like about what really pushed me to do the music thing too. It's like I knew eventually, like I would love to have a family and kids and all that stuff, and I want to show them, like, I don't want to just be like miserable at my job or what I do and all that stuff. Like, because I saw that from my dad in the sense he loves what he does and is hard working. Like, I wanted to be as passionate about something as my dad was at working, and hopefully be as successful and really good at it, and set that same kind of example. I don't just want to just like work a job because it's easy and it was what was handed to me, but I hate it. Like, that's not a way to live life and enjoy life. And it's hard enough. And so if at least I'm doing what I love, and then I don't have as much time for other things because I have my kids, at least like I love my job, So that's I think it's extra important. Yeah. And hopefully hopefully not next year, but maybe in the next few years we can talk more like father to father about stuff like that. But I gotta have a girlfriend first, so and then they become there's a process that I'm not rushing. I want, but I'm not rushing.
Oh, it is wild, Dan. Like 2016, I still remember sitting there. I had broken up recently with the girlfriend before my wife, and I was sitting there on my balcony, and I'm thinking, what is happening next? Kind of like in my life, I was not so far down, but I was thinking, I want to be a dad. And then I'm kind of running through the things that creatively I want to work on, and I'm just thinking, what is going to happen from here? How does all this happen? And then within 2 years, I had a baby, or 16 months, something like that. That's crazy. And I feel like it for me personally. I've definitely. You kind of have to make healthier choices as a parent. I guess you can, not slow anything down, but it's really hard to be an active dad if you're drinking at the same levels or prioritizing the time with the guys and stuff like that. So
right, and I can't even do that. I don't even do that as much. Like, I still obviously hang out with my friends, but frankly, the fitness program and just wanting to, the whole mindset of like wanting to have a long career and doing what I love, like music is a physical thing, certainly the performing and the singing piece. So you kind of have to approach it like an athlete. And I definitely don't drink as much as I used to. And that's a good thing.
That is
I
good.
still enjoy whiskey. I enjoy, a nice cold beer. Like, it's making it a thing that like is something to be enjoyed and for, special occasion or just, even if a Friday, it doesn't have to be like that rare, but yeah, definitely overall making healthier choices because that's just what I want to do and thinking long term as well. I want to be able to make choices for longer, so therefore they got to be healthier. So yeah.
Oh, I can't wait if the time comes and like you said, if you're a father in a few years and we can connect on that level too. I think you got all the great traits that are just in the DNA, Dan, to be a solid role model for somebody like that, or a great husband and father, and but yeah, the here and now. I just think you're doing a wonderful job at the body of work. That's something that, let's say you have a family, and then they look back and once they get to be a certain age and they hear some of the songs that you've written.
Yeah, no, it's that too. It's to have that, for my family and people I care about. That's why music is so important to me too, because that's going to be a lasting legacy, whatever happens.
Also want to point on this, I've got two brothers and you do too, and we've talked about that before. And you had a post about your mom on Mother's Day, and it was really touching to me personally because I know how close my brothers and I are with our mother and how happy she is. You could just tell, like, when you're around your mom as an adult and the things you're doing, things your brothers are doing, and you just look over and she's happy that, like, wow, I did something right raising these guys. Hopefully you all like each other, you and your brothers, and just I know she's so proud of you. Like, I don't even know your mom that well, but we messaged like a couple times back channel maybe after that first episode I posted, and she said, "Hey, thanks for interviewing my son."
Oh God, of course she did.
And I was like, "No, he's an awesome guy." So, but she's really proud of you.
She is. I mean, I was with her this weekend and with my whole extended. It was my dad, my mom, and my stepmom, and my mom's boyfriend, and my stepsisters, and then my two brothers, because obviously the youngest one was graduating, and it was really special. And I really value the time with my family because I don't get it that often because I'm here and we're all spread out. So, look, no one can tick you off like family, and we definitely still can get on each other's nerves. And but I love them so much, and I'm very grateful. My mom. I wouldn't be here without my parents. There's no question about it. The support and the belief and everything. There's no question about it. They might not always understand what I do or get it because it's a weird, unique kind of thing, and they are not in the business themselves, but they're very supportive, and so I'm really grateful for that, and that's important. And I have great role models in that sense too.
I don't know if I asked before, but when you wrote Alameda, did your mom know that you were planning to do that?
I think I told her about it after I wrote it because that's about her mom. Yeah, my grandma. Yeah. So yeah, and she'd heard, and she loved it. So, but I wrote a song about my mom, which was in that post that you were talking about. That is one of the, again, autobiographical, more leaning songs that I hope that I can put out soon. Cut a record of and then put out. But I just really love that one. That came out super special because I'd written a lot of songs about moms and for moms and other people's moms, but writing one about my specific thing that still felt universal and relatable, but something that was like, this is my story. Like, took a while to do, and but it did it, and I'm really glad that happened. So that might be for another podcast episode, a whole another thing. Hopefully by the time we're talking, I'll have all my music out, a bunch of hits to talk about. And
well, whatever happens, Dan, I mean, I think only great things are to come, because it can't just be me, and it can't just be the people that are connecting with some of the other songs. It's just like you said. I think you talked about earlier in the episode, there's people, your peers, who get frustrated. They're thinking, what more do I have to do? I mean, I'm not a bad looking guy. I'm a pretty good performer. And they're not even full of themselves, and they're thinking, I got stage presence. I got good material. What's going on here?
The reality is, it's timing and just the right moment. And I mean, the reality, there's so many people and songs and just content that is out there, and trying to cut through is really difficult. I mean, if you don't have a ton of money, and even still, it's not a guarantee of any kind of lasting stuff. I mean, there's some stuff going on right now. Some people, some artists that are kind of like making some waves and kind of coming out of nowhere. It's like, well, they came from a certain situation, and that's fine. I mean, look, we all use what's to our advantage. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that, because even if that opens the door, you're not going to stay if it's not legit or people don't connect with it or it's not authentic. However you got
Right.
your foot in the door, even though there is something to be said about having that advantage to open the door a lot sooner than other people might be, or at all, because some people might never even have the chance. But I mean, look at Thomas Rhett, for example. His dad, Rhett Akins, is like one of the greatest songwriters in this town and had a lot of success. And he definitely grew up around it and had kind of a leg up. And maybe that opened some doors for him. He's talked about this on the podcast. Might open some doors for him that would have taken a lot longer. But he still had to be good, and he wouldn't still be a thing if he wasn't good and wasn't a good guy and didn't work hard and all those things. Like, he was given the opportunity. I think the expression is like, they might get the door open for you. It's your job to keep it open. And so, I think that's a testament to him. But it is hard. It's hard however you slice it, whether or not you have an advantage or whether or not you don't. And it's just, but I think it comes down to that mindset again. Like, this is what I do. It's not like, if it doesn't work out, I'm going to go sell insurance. It's like, this is what you do, and you figure it out.
And Dan, talking about time management, looking at opportunities, maybe passing on something, maybe something sounds okay. Well, this is decent. I think I could do this on this night. If it's a performing gig, will you accept that if someone wants you to play guitar, play bass with their group? Will you do that mostly when it comes along, or just depends?
Usually, I mean, obviously, assuming it's a paid thing, obviously, and most of the time it is. If I can make it work, if it depends on, like, do I already know the songs or can I learn them easily? Does it fit with my pre-existing schedule? Obviously, yeah. I mean, I try to. My default is to not no. My default is like, let me see if I can make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it should be no, but I mean, I definitely have to, like, find that balance. The balance is getting to a point in my career where I don't need to feel like I need to say yes to everything. Where I can say, no, I'm good. Like, this is what I'm doing. I need this time during this week. And it's even the same with writing. It's like, I'm going to continue to be writing consistently, like 4 or 5 days a week, but maybe 4 days more of the time now. Like, give me an extra day to, like, do my other life stuff I need to do, or like, and not be writing twice a day on those 4 days that I am writing. Consistency is the most important thing. So even if you're only writing 2 days a week, but you're consistently doing it, that's better than not. But I also don't want to, like I said, burn myself out, do too much. And it's a balance that every creative struggles with. Like, you have seasons where, like, you're kind of light, seasons where you kind of maybe overdo it a little bit, and you need to check yourself. And I'm kind of in that space right now. I kind of need to take a little bit of time and reevaluate, hey, what's on my calendar that I absolutely need to be doing, or, because I might have said this earlier in the podcast. If I didn't, I probably said it earlier today in a conversation I was having. Saying no isn't just no to something, it's yes to something else, even if you don't know what that thing is at the time. So that's the thing I try and keep in mind. It's also not saying never. Saying no is just saying not right now. Mm-hmm. So it's still hard for me to do, but I have to remind myself, because then when I get into those moments where I'm like, oh my God, I have so much, like, why did I say yes to all these things? I don't have the time, and then I'm just stressed out, and then I'm not enjoying it. And then why do it in the first place? So, we all hustle, and we all got to do what we got to do. And sometimes days are a little crazier than others, but I'm really trying to balance filling out my days without like overdoing it and maxing it out kind of situation.
Yeah. Well,
It's still a continual journey, as I'm sure it is for you, but it's because I love what I do, which is ultimately the good thing. And it's because I love what I spend my time doing to tie it all together. Just trying to make sure that I give myself enough time to be able to do that stuff effectively.
well, I think you were born to make music. Some people, I guess, have that artist bug and maybe look at it as a curse. I could see it both ways. Like, do you feel appreciation that you got the gift, and then sometimes
I do.
it's like,
I really do. I mean, sometimes there are times where I'm like half asleep, and I get a song idea, and I'm like, okay, I know my brain's not going to let me sleep if I don't get this down. So times like that, I'm just like, why can't I just not? Or like, why can't I just be happy doing a regular 9 to 5 and like not having to like take this gamble? But it's part of what makes me me, and I love what I do. And I think it's kind of like a superpower. I think having musical ability and that kind of thing is kind of like a superpower, because you can kind of connect to people in a way that you can only do through music.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really special. I really do. And it's obviously such a part of who I am, but making sure it also doesn't totally consume. Like I am more than my songs. I am more than my music. And that's really important to keep in mind, because this industry is so up and down and will not love you back most of the time. So you can't, I've had to learn the hard way, and a lot of friends of mine and peers, it's like learning to keep that separation of like, my identity is not totally, even though we love what we do, make sure it's not totally tied in with, that, because then we're going to be very up and down. And it's like, I'm still cool no matter what. I love what I do. Music's a huge part of who I am. But it's also my job. I'm more than my job. So you want to have other interests and hobbies, because that's also going to make the music more interesting and fit that whole thing. So
one thing I did want to, and I could just keep rattling these things off, but the song Always, I think, is one of your best vocal performances.
Oh, thank you.
And I don't know if when you're going into recording a song like that, if you're thinking this has to be the best, or like this is really leaning on.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, every time I'm going in to cut a record vocal, I'm trying to like, this has to be the best that it can possibly be for the song.
Like the way you sing the hand to hold and stretch out that note. I think you've got a real gift there, and that's.
Well, I think that song in particular, it was very heartfelt and emotional, and coming from a real place. And I wrote that song for someone I was with at the time, and really felt it and meant it. And every time I hear it, I still kind of get emotional, because songs are little time machines. They're capsules of what you wrote, when you wrote it, who you wrote it for, and it will always be that. Even if you take new meaning and new perspective on it from when you're listening to it years later, it still puts me back in that. It's like the line from the Eric Church song, "Funny how a melody sounds like a memory," brings me back to that. So, yeah, that one was particularly emotional, and I think that's reflected in the vocal performance. But I appreciate that. I do.
Well, folks listening, usually I will talk to you, the listener, more than I did in this episode, but hopefully you enjoyed eavesdropping on the conversation here. At Dan Harrison Music across the socials, and I think it's on X, that is DN Harrison?
Yes, yeah, that's the only one that's different because of the character limit, but it's otherwise Dan Harrison Music on everything.
But follow him and visit the website. If you haven't already, wherever you live locally, you should be hearing it on the radio, but if you haven't already, download the new song with Bells, Son of Jolene, which Dan wrote this down. To call this a dream come true is an understatement, because I got to share it with two of my best friends. Another thing I talk about in this podcast, and I believe so strongly in, Dan, is friendship, the power of friendship. And
very much so.
That's a great part of the story there.
Yeah.
All right. Dan, as always, it's wonderful to connect with you, and I'm rooting hard for you, and all the best to you, my friend.
I really appreciate it, man. Thank you for your support and just your platform and taking the time to chat. And it's a pleasure as always. And we'll do it again sometime.
You got it. We'll talk soon. All right. Y'all have a great week. Thanks for listening to the Dan Time Podcast.
See you next time.